All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Christina Jerusik, and I work at East Mississippi Community College at the Scuba campus. I want to say welcome to everyone this morning, and thank you for joining me on the second deep dive into the EBSCO Discovery Service. All right, so before I really get started, kind of a little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to ask everyone to please keep themselves on mute, and if you have any questions, to please put it in the chat box. I'm going to try and stop every so often throughout this presentation and check the chat box. However, if I don't get to your question, I will be putting up my contact information at the end of this presentation. So please don't hesitate to email me, and I will answer your question and hopefully get some answers to you. Okay, so a brief outline of what I want to cover today. I'm going to show you guys how to get to our databases. I'm going to show you guys the general features of the EBSCO Discovery Service. Then I'm going to move on to some specific features of the service, and then end with talking about making an account within EBSCO itself. All right, so are there any questions at this point? All right, now this will be kind of a fast presentation, so let's go get started. So first thing you need to do is start at the East Mississippi Community College main webpage. You'll go to Student Services. A little bit more than halfway down, you will see the link for the library's website. Now, I do encourage you to spend some time kind of looking at our website. There are a lot of nice resources here that can really help you out. But today, again, we're focusing on our databases. Now, for those of you who have a keen eye, you will notice that the EBSCO Discovery Service is actually already on our main site. However, I'm going to take you in a different way for this morning just to show you something. So you'll go to A to Z Online Resources right there. Since we know the name of the database is the E, you can just hit the E right here, and it'll pull out all of the databases that start with an E. If you know if you have a subject that you're looking for, you can also kind of separate it out here. But again, Discovery Service today. The main reason why I wanted to take you in this way as opposed to from our main website right here is to show you guys that this is a locked database. So it's got a closed padlock. That means that you will need to put in your username and password to access this website. Don't panic, it's the same password that your username and password that you would use when logging into your Leo or, Canvas account. Forgot I have this on here. All right, and there you go. So you are now in the EBSCO Discovery Service database. Now, one thing I really recommend you do before you even go put in your search term is you'll notice at the top of the screen, there's this yellow Hello Guest Login for Full Access link. Go ahead and click on that to just make sure you're logged in. So the reason why you need to do this is, need a second here, is that we get this database through funding from the Mello Consortium, and that clicking that confirms that you are an EMCC student as opposed to coming in from the Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College or Copiah Lincoln Community College or one of those. It's just a confirmation that yes, I am associated with EMCC. Now, I also want to stress that just because you've clicked that button does not mean you have an account within the Discovery Service. It's just, again, a confirmation that you're coming in from the EMCC side of this. Okay, so a little information about the Discovery Service. It's an all-inclusive search solution that makes in-depth research easy. It offers sophisticated features and functionality that can anticipate user intent and help them to get exactly what they're looking for quickly and easily. So let's just get started. Search terms. I'm going to do climate change. All right, and as you notice, this has a lot of returns. Part of the reason you're going to get such a, or let me rephrase this a little bit. One trick that you can do at the very beginning of any search, if you're using search terms that are more than, or rather a concept that's more than one word. So as you can see, the concept I'm looking at is climate change. So it's got 2 words in it. So what you can do is put quotation marks around that phrase, and that tells the search engine that you want to search for this specific phrase. So you want to get rid of any article, or let me reword it again. So the first search we did was bringing in results for stuff like the climate in Puerto Rico and how to change a solid from a liquid, that kind of thing, or a solid to a liquid, excuse me, that kind of thing. By putting quotation marks, you're going to throw out anything that does not have that specific phrase within the document. So quotation marks can be pretty powerful. They should be used around a phrase or a concept that's got 2 or more words in it. Doing this ensures that the concept is going to be searched for as a whole and not taken apart into pieces. All right, so let's see what happens just because we put quotations in it. And this search strategy will also work on pretty much anything that has a search function built into it, whether it's an online search engine like Google, Yahoo, or Bing, or any type of database. So as you can see, just by putting quotation marks, we've knocked it almost in half. So we went from 5 million results to about 2.5 million. So it took off quite a lot, but there's still a lot to go through. All right, so some more. So the next thing I want to go over is kind of the limiters on the left side of the screen. Now, for those of you who have watched the academic search premiere video, this next part is going to be very, very familiar to you, mainly because the same company that runs Academic Search Premier also runs this discovery service. So again, on the left side of the screen, one thing I really recommend with any database that you are accessing, the first thing you should do is come over here and click that limit to full text. This is going to help you a lot in the long run because this makes sure that whatever articles or material get returned to you, you have complete and total access to. So it's not going to show you the first 2 pages and then say the publisher has blocked the rest of this. This is stuff that you can go from beginning to end, see the whole thing, and there's no charge or anything associated with it. So just go ahead and make sure, if you have the option, select full text at the beginning. Some other things you'll notice in the limiter side is that scholarly and peer-reviewed journals. Now, again, a peer-reviewed journal pretty much means that an article has been submitted to the journal and the journal has placed it in front of a panel of judges who have evaluated the quality of the research, and if they have approved it, it has been published. So that's another thing you can do to limit things down, or narrow things down rather. You'll also notice that there's a publication slider bar here where you can go in and slide it side to side. Excuse me, this thing likes to jump around a little. So you can slide it side to side. The next thing you can do over here is the source types here. So as you can see, there are a lot of different source types that are available within this database. So you can come in and say your assignment says you have to have 3 magazine articles, or you need to have a biography or something like that. You can come in, click on that source type, that show more, and then go through the source type list and click the source type that you need and click update. I'm not going to do it because I need to show you a few more things on this page. So you can click update and it'll throw out everything that's not a magazine article or everything that's not a dissertation, that kind of stuff. One more limiter that I want to show you guys is the subject limiter. So this list right here is kind of a list of topics that are normally associated with the search term that you have put in. So you can go in and see, okay, is there anything here that I would also be interested? And if you see more than one you like, you can just kind of go 1, 2, 3, click update, and it's going to throw out everything that doesn't have those subjects within it. Now, again, I'm just going to cancel this out because I want to show you guys something else in a few minutes, and it's just easier for me to stay on this kind of page right here. So the limiters are a really nice way of narrowing it down and focusing in more and more on your topic. All right, so before I go too much further, I want to show you some of the functions that you have when you decide to click on a link. So I'm just going to pick this random one. So here's the link for the article. And if you'll notice on the left side, you can either view it as an HTML text or a PDF full text. So you would just click on that. It'll pull it up. I'm not going to do it right now because it can be a little, it can take some time to load, and I don't have a lot of that right now. So I'm just going to keep rolling. Now you'll notice on the left on the right side of the screen, there is a toolbar. So these are things that you can use in conjunction with this article. So you can save this article to a Google Drive. I'm going to keep going up. Here we go. A Google Drive, you can add it to your folder. Now, if you click add to folder, it's going to show up here. So click, there you go. It's now in there. You can print it. Now, I want to stress that if you decide to print, what you will be printing from here is just this page here. So you're not necessarily going to get the full article. So you're lucky. This one does have the full article included down here. Most of the time, you're going to need to come over here, click the link, and print it that way. But you can print kind of the basic information here. You can email it to yourself. Personally, I like to email myself the citation format in conjunction with the article just to make my life a little bit easier. Type in your email address, hit send, and you're good to go. There's an option to save it. Now, if you do decide to save it, make sure you're saving it to either a zip drive or your OneDrive account or something along those lines. I really would not recommend you saving it to the desktop when it comes to the computers in the computer lab, because we can't guarantee that that's going to be there when you come back. There's also the cite button, which you can click and it'll save your citation. So find the citation style you like, highlight, write, copy, and paste it into your Word document. And I will go over the note function later in this presentation when we get into the making an account section. Okay, so those are some of the generic features within this database. Last one I want to go over, let me go back. There's actually 2 more sections I want to show you guys in the general area. So you've got these 3 buttons right here. This one just kind of shows you how to sort your results. So you can sort the newest published, newest to oldest, oldest to newest, and by relevance. You can also kind of finagle how you want the page layout to look like, what you want to see when you open this up. And then the share button is, say you really like the first 10 articles, you can click, I want to save my results to a file. Click on that, and you'll notice everything gets put in that folder. Now, the create an email alert, I will be going over in a little bit. All right, then the last kind of generic function I want to show you guys is that search history button. So if at any time you get stuck at anything and you realize, hey, I want to go back to a search that I done a couple of searches ago, you can click on search history and it's going to show you all of the searches that you have done since you opened the discovery system. If you want, you can also go in and click 2 of the searches, and if you want to combine them, expand them out more, or delete the searches, you can do that and it will return results for you. So those are going to be the generic general functions within the EBSCO Discovery Service. So are there any questions at this point? All right, so then the next thing I want to go over is some of the specific resources of the EBSCO Discovery System. So the first one I want to go over is going to be the one at the very top, this box right here. This is called a research starter. So this box will show up, and it's again, as the name suggests, it's a place to start your research. So for instance, with climate change and global warming, this is a very, very broad topic. There's a lot of things that you can go and research in further. So you can click on this. If you don't have any idea of where you want to take your research, you can click here and look through and just kind of read about the topic and figure out, okay, how do I want to do my research? What would I like to look into? How do I want to take this further? So it's a really nice place to, again, to start your research, just so that you have, you know, again, you've got a place to start. All right. So that's the research starters. The rest of the stuff I want to talk to you about is going to be on this right side of the page. So you'll see something called a newswire. I apologize, I'm not very familiar with newswires, but from the research that I've done, they tend to be kind of really short articles that are very, very laser focused on certain topics. And they're pretty much submitted directly on the internet. So you'll click on it. Most of these aren't very long. The longest, I think, this is probably going to be the longest one that I've seen. They're a little unwieldy and it can take a little time to read it. So if you want to take the time and go through it, you can. It is a nice feature. And if anybody wants more information on this, please let me know. And I am more than willing to talk to you later and go over it more with you. So below the Newswire section, you'll have a related images section where you can go and see images that are going to relate to your search topic. And you will also notice that there are 2 more research starter sections. There's one that's going to focus on the business side of climate change, and there's one that's going to focus on the sociological side of things. Again, business side looks like has a few more research starters than the sociology one, but this is a function that's there. And then the last thing down here is going to be an RSS feed that's going to focus in on the search terms that you have built over across the top, as well as limit on the left side of the screen. So the last 2 things I want to go over very quickly with you guys are the multimedia section and the publication section. So the multimedia section is pretty much if you would like to look for pictures or maps. So I'm going to do climate change in here, hit search, and there you go. As you can see, here are images on climate change. So that's how the multimedia box is going to work. Now you'll also notice in multimedia, you do have the option to limit it more down here and to narrow it in even further. Okay, so last thing I'm going to go over in the specific section is going to be the publications box. All right, so this is a list of publications that you have access to through the Discovery service. Now, I'm going to say these are publications. So this is not a subject. So I'm going to look at information, and I'm going to click the information and technology link. And this is a list of different journals, periodicals, just publication articles, or publications in general that are associated with information technology. Now, if you would like to search within the journal, you can click here, type in your search term, and hit search. Most of these are you get full text access, but it can take several clicks to get to the information that you need. So if anybody is interested in more information or another deep dive into how the publication section works on its own, please talk to me. Shoot me an email and I will work on getting something together for you. Okay, so that's going to be kind of the generic features, or excuse me, these are going to be the specific features within the EBSCO Discovery Service that are kind of unique to the Discovery Service. Are there any questions at this point? Okay, so the last thing I want to go over is creating an account in EBSCO. Now, as you've seen throughout this entire presentation, you have a lot of leeway, or rather you can do a lot without an account in EBSCO. I mean, everything that I have done without creating an account. I am not signed in at all. There are pros and cons to making another account. A con is you have to keep track of another login username and password situation. And if you're like me, you've already got too many and it's really hard to keep track of as it is. However, one of the big positives for making an account within the EBSCO Discovery System is that whatever you do and you save to your folder, you have access to pretty much anywhere. So if you are at the computer lab, you go in, you put a bunch of articles in your folder, you get up and go to class, you can access those articles from your house, from your cell phone, at the dentist's office. It's pretty much saved anywhere just as long as you log in. Whereas if you decide not to make an account, then once you close out the window, the internet browser window, your stuff's gone. Like, I cannot guarantee that the information is going to be there when you come back at a later date. And we actually have had several students that have put a lot of work into finding articles, have not created an account in EBSCO, and then have come back and have been fairly upset that they can't find the information that they looked for earlier. So on that, if you decide not to make an account in EBSCO, what I really recommend you do before you leave the library or before you leave your computer, go here. If you have more than one item, just select all and email it to yourself. Go here and click email. This way, all of the articles that you have will be sent to your email account, and this will include a link to get back to the articles that you, or the documents that you have put within this folder list. So that's kind of my piece of advice for if you decide not to make an account. However, if you do make an account, it's pretty easy to do. You click create one now. Name, email, and a username and password is kind of what they ask for. I'm going to go log in and show you kind of some of the things that you can do. Now, if you, or let me rephrase this again. So with this, one really cool thing about making a username and password in EBSCO is that it is good pretty much at on any EBSCO database. So this password is going to be good for if I use, if I go to Academic Search Premier and anything else that is run by EBSCO. So this username and password is going to run correctly. Now, if you have seen the video on Academic Search Premier, you are going to notice that my username and password are different from the previous one. The main reason being I have forgotten my password on the other one, and I am having some problems with EBSCO in retrieving / resetting my password. So if you do create a username and password, write it down or put it somewhere that you can find it, because it's been a couple of days and I still have not gotten any kind of email back from EBSCO about resetting my password. So just a little bit of advice. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So I'm going to go back to that folder, to my folder list here. Mainly I wanted to go here to show you guys two things, and it has more to do with the article section here. So I've decided this is the article I want to use. What you can do here is that create a note button. So if you decide you want to create a note, you'll go here, click add new note, type in, I need to look, make whatever kind of notation you want, and it's saved here. So as you can see, I did one earlier. So very easy to do, pretty straightforward. So that's one thing. And then the second thing I want to show you guys are the email alerts. And that's going to be in this button right here. You click share and create an email alert right here. So email alerts work more for if you're doing a long-term project, or long-term research, which is, I'd say, something probably a couple of years, if you're doing research for a long period of time. Or it could be that, hey, you're just really interested in this topic and you kind of want to keep up to date on, what's being published in this area. So this, usually you would add more limiters and stuff over on the left side of the screen before doing this. But you can go in here and say, all right, I'm going to email it to myself. Oh, not that one. No, it's not the right one. And how many times do I want to get an email? I want to get an email once a month on this topic about articles that were published in the last year, and I want it in a brief result. So I can go there, click save alert, and now I will get an email. And just to kind of show you what that email alert is going to look like, this is the email alert. So the top part is going to be about your about the search string that you put in. Near the bottom is where you're going to have the articles right here, and then a link to the article itself. So you can go here, click it, and it's going to open up the article. Now it may ask you for your username and password again. Okay, good, it didn't this time, but that's more because they're just confirming, again, you're an EMCC student. So the email alerts can be very, very helpful. All right, and so those are going to be pretty much the best, or sorry, how to phrase this. So that's kind of the positives in making an account within EBSCO, the discovery system. Are there any questions? All right, so this is pretty much all what I have for today. Here is my contact information for anyone that needs it. You can either contact myself or my coworker at the Golden Triangle campus, Lisa Justice, and we will answer any questions that you have. I want to mention that our next deep dive is going to be, if I can get this to work, on the ProQuest Research Companion on Wednesday, July 22nd at 10 a.m. All right, well, I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you guys in July. Thank you very much.